Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor, and we are here on the exhibition floor of the 2026 Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas. And with me right now from the GOWell booth here on the exhibition floor is the CEO of GOWell. GOWell is a company that specializes in solutions for well integrity, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. So this is the CEO, Guillaume Borrel. He's going to talk about, well integrity and some other things that they have on offer. So, Guillaume, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Stephen, for having me.
So I think in talking about what GOWell has on offer, I think my first question has to be a little bit broader out. And it sort of goes into the practical realities of restarting idle or degraded wells. And there are probably some risks, there are some practical things that you have to consider. Can you tell us a little bit more about what some of those realities are?
Absolutely. So I would say you have two types of risks, actually. One is really a safety hazard associated to the integrity of those wells. The other one is more of an economic risk, right? So on the first one, typically an idle well or a well that has been shut in for some time will see its condition evolve. A well, even when it's not producing, is not really a static thing. Things continue to change, so we could see pressure issues inside the well, temperature, chemical composition, corrosion starting to accelerate in some places. So many of those things, even cement itself could evolve. So many of those things could impact and affect the integrity and so the safety of the well. That's a key, number one, probably issue and risk. Now, of course, some of those idle wells have been temporarily abandoned, so they've been shut down with a plan to be reopened in the future. So it makes re-entry and reopening a little bit easy. In some cases, they were just left idle with a view to maybe one day abandon them, which makes it even more challenging to go back in there. So that's the first category of risk. The second one is more economic, and there it's a question of will this well indeed be worth the investment in order to try to bring them back to life, and that's something that also needs to be assessed as much as we can.
So let's talk about some of the offerings that GOWell has in helping to address these realities.
So we do have a pretty wide well integrity portfolio. That's really our foundation and where our technology focuses on today. What that portfolio comprises of is a set of tools that can be conveyed on a cable, on wireline, and run through existing tubing, in order to give you a complete assessment of the integrity of your well. So our technologies, all combinable, can tell you the condition of the cement, not just behind the tubing, but behind the casing from within the tubing. It can tell you the amount of corrosion in up to 5 concentric casing strings outside of the tubing. It can give you an indication of the deformation of the casing or the tubing. It can detect leaks and identify where leaks and so some an annulus could be in communication with another one that it should not be in communication with, etc., etc. So with all of that, it's almost, think of it as you go to the doctor, you do your annual medical check, right? And you pinpoint everything that, you do a full diagnostics, right? And that's really our key offering, I think, that can help operators ahead of re-entering those wells.
So what are we going to see from GOWell in the future? Now, I know there might be some things that we might not be able to talk about in full here, but maybe you can explain a few things that we're going to be looking forward to.
So from a technology point of view, we are completing our offering into production optimization. We like to see ourselves as we help operators keep their wells safe, but also help them have the wells produce longer. So production optimization is a key development area for us with a few technologies in the pipeline. But quite an important event for us this year is we're looking at becoming a public company, and that's really with a view to accelerate our growth, right? We have a lot of ambition, we have a lot of ideas, we have a strong R&D team, a lot of things we want to work on, And so this public listing will allow us to really boost the growth and answer our ambition. Right?
We'll look forward to seeing you when you guys go out on the exchanges. We'll be paying attention. Thank you again, Guillaume, for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you very much for having me, Simon.
And thank you for visiting drillingcontractor.org.